My beloved soul, something just happened in the spiritual realm that has never happened quite like this before, and it involves you. Right now, as you are hearing this, there is a silence in heaven that should not exist. A pause, a hesitation, as if the very atmosphere of eternity has stopped to witness a moment that caught even the angels off guard. And I must tell you the truth without softening it. Your last action has just shocked heaven. This is not a message of fear, but it is a message of urgency. Because just moments ago, a divine reward, something prepared specifically for you, was already on its way. It had your name written on it. It would align with your prayers, your tears, your late-night cries when no one else could hear you. Heaven had approved it. The command had been given. The door was opening. But then something changed. Archangel Michael himself steps forward in this moment, not with condemnation, but with a seriousness that cannot be ignored. His voice carries both authority and compassion as he reveals what just occurred. He says, "What was released has now been delayed, not because you were unworthy, but because something in your last action created a misalignment." Do you feel that? This is not rejection. This is interruption. Listen carefully, because this moment is rare. Heaven does not usually announce these things so directly. But today, May 2nd, there is a divine exception. You are being given a warning that most never receive. A window has opened, but it will not remain open forever. In fact, you are standing in a countdown moment. A spiritual timer has been activated, and symbolically, you have 29 seconds to respond in your heart. Why 29 seconds? Because this is not about time as you know it. It is about decision. It is about the instant your spirit either turns back into alignment or drifts further away. In one moment, everything can shift. In one choice, doors can reopen. But in that same breath, if ignored, something precious can slip away quietly. You may be wondering, what did I do? And that question itself is the beginning of awareness. Because deep inside your spirit already felt it. It could have been a word spoken in frustration, a moment of doubt when you were supposed to trust, a hesitation when you were being called to act. Something small in the physical but significant in the spiritual. Do not look away from this. Do not scroll past this moment as if it is just another message. This is personal. This is targeted. This is your intervention. Archangel Michael is not here to accuse you. He is here to alert you. Because the reward has not been destroyed, it has only been paused, suspended, waiting on you. And right now, everything is holding its breath, waiting to see what you will do next. There is something you must understand with absolute clarity, because this is where many lose what was meant for them without even realizing it. The action that caused this interruption was not necessarily something loud, dramatic, or obvious. In fact, what stopped the flow of your blessing may have appeared small in your eyes, almost insignificant. But in the spiritual realm, even the quietest misstep can echo loudly. Archangel Michael speaks again, and his voice carries a deep, steady truth. It is not always the great sins that delay divine rewards, it is often the subtle disconnections. Let that settle within you. Because what happened was not about failure, it was about alignment. Something in your last thought, your last reaction, or your last decision created a shift. A slight turning away from the frequency of trust, obedience, or faith that had positioned you for this blessing. Think back carefully. Was there a moment where you felt prompted to do something good but you ignored it? Was there a whisper in your spirit telling you to forgive, to stay silent, to act with kindness, yet you chose the opposite? Or perhaps it was not even an action outwardly, but something inward, a wave of doubt that replaced your faith, a moment where fear became louder than trust, These are the moments that matter more than you think. Heaven does not operate only on what is visible. It responds to the condition of your heart. And your heart, in that one moment, shifted just enough to pause what had already been set in motion. This is why it feels so intense right now. Because everything was so close. You were not far from your breakthrough. You were standing at its edge. Archangel Michael reveals something deeper here, something that many do not realize. Blessings are not just given. They are aligned. They flow when your spirit, your thoughts, and your actions are in harmony with what has been prepared for you. But when even one of those elements falls out of sync, there is a temporary disruption, not as punishment but as protection. Because what is given must be sustained, and what is sustained must be received in the right state. Do not misunderstand this moment. You have not lost your worth. You have not been abandoned. But you have encountered a spiritual checkpoint. A moment where heaven pauses and says, return to alignment, and it will continue. This is why awareness is so important right now. Because the enemy of your blessing is not always something external. It is often distraction, impatience, or emotional reaction. You may have been tired. You may have been overwhelmed. You may have felt justified in that moment. But heaven is not measuring justification. It is measuring alignment. And yet, there is mercy in this. Great mercy. Because you are being shown this in real time. Most people never know why things suddenly slow down in their lives. They blame circumstances, other people, or bad luck. But you are being given insight directly. This is a rare correction, a divine intervention designed to bring you back before it is too late. Archangel Michael's presence now feels closer, more urgent, yet still filled with hope. He is not here to dwell on what went wrong. He is here to guide you toward what must happen next. Because even though something has been paused, it has not been canceled. But you must respond. Not later. Not when it feels convenient. Now. Because the same moment that caused the delay can become the moment that restores everything. Listen closely, because what I am about to reveal is something your spirit has been sensing, even if your mind could not fully understand it. There was a moment, just moments ago in the unseen realm, when everything was aligning in your favor. Movements were taking place beyond your physical sight. Paths were being cleared. Obstacles were being removed before you even encountered them. Heaven was not silent about you, it was actively preparing something significant. Archangel Michael now unveils this hidden scene with clarity and authority. He says there was a release issued in your name. Think about that. A release. A divine instruction sent forth, carrying provision, breakthrough, and reward. It was not random. It was not general. It was specific to you, connected to your journey, your endurance, your faith through moments where you almost gave up but didn't. Angels had already begun their assignments. There were movements happening, subtle shifts in timing, and opportunities in conversations that were about to take place in your life. Things were about to fall into place in a way that would have made you stop and realize this could only be God. That is how close you were. That is how real this was. But then, in a single moment, something unexpected occurred. Heaven paused. Not out of anger, not out of rejection, but out of divine precision. Because the alignment that was required for that blessing to fully manifest had shifted. And when that shift happened, even slightly, everything stopped waiting. This is the part many never see. They only experience the delay, but they never understand the reason. But you are being allowed to see behind the veil. You are being shown that your life is not random. Your actions are not unnoticed. There is a real-time response between your spirit and heaven. Archangel Michael explains it in a way that is both powerful and deeply personal. Heaven responds to agreement. When your heart, your faith, and your actions agree with what has been spoken over your life, the flow continues. But when that agreement is broken, even for a moment, the flow pauses, waiting for realignment. This is why that moment mattered. It was not just about what you did, it was about what it represented. A break in agreement. A hesitation where there should have been trust. A reaction where there should have been surrender. And in that instant, heaven, in its wisdom, held everything back not to deny you but to give you a chance to return. Feel the weight of that truth. This was not taken away from you. It was held for you. And right now, there is still movement, but it is suspended, like a breath that has not yet been released. Everything is waiting on one thing, your response. This is where the power shifts back into your hands, because the same heaven that paused is ready to move again. The same angels that were sent are still on assignment. Nothing hath been destroyed. Nothing hath been lost beyond recovery. But there must be a moment of awareness, a moment where you recognize and respond. Archangel Michael's presence grows stronger here, not to pressure you, but to awaken you. He is reminding you that you are not disconnected. You are involved. Your choices matter. Your alignment matters. Your willingness to return matters. So what do you do now? You do not run from this moment. You step into it. You acknowledge it. You allow your heart to correct itself without resistance. Because this is not about perfection. It is about direction. It is about choosing to come back into agreement, even if you stepped out for a second. And as you begin to feel that shift within you, something begins to stir again in the unseen. The pause starts to loosen. The stillness begins to break. Because heaven is watching not to judge your past moment, but to respond to your present one. Now, if this message is touching something deep within your spirit, do not ignore it. This is your moment to declare your return. Type "I return to alignment" in the comments if you feel this awakening inside you. Lesson code 3147 is now being activated over your life. And as this code is released, understand this: your response is not just words. It is a signal that travels beyond what you can see, reaching into the very place where your blessing is waiting. And in this same sacred flow, hear this calling placed gently but powerfully before you. There are others, just like you, standing at the edge of their breakthrough, unaware that heaven has paused for them too. When you choose to support this mission, you are not just giving, you are becoming a vessel through which light reaches them. As it is written, "Give, and it shall be given unto you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over." This is not a distant promise. It is a living voice speaking over you right now. Say within yourself, "I am ready to be a carrier of this message." Because every seed you sow through Super Thanks or PayPal becomes a ripple in the spiritual realm, opening doors for someone else before theirs close. The links are placed for you in the description, and the QR code is right before your eyes, not by accident, but by divine design. Do not hesitate in this moment. Step into it. Sow into what is awakening your spirit. And as you do, may your own doors begin to open again, swiftly and without resistance. There is a mystery behind the 29 seconds that you must not overlook, because it holds a deeper meaning than what appears on the surface. This is not about a literal countdown ticking somewhere in the sky. This is about a spiritual window, a brief, powerful moment where everything can either be restored or quietly slip away again. And right now, you are standing inside that window. Archangel Michael reveals this with a calm but unmistakable urgency. He says, time, in the divine realm, is not measured as you measure it. It is measured by response. Let that truth settle within you. Because those 29 seconds represent something far greater than seconds on a clock. They represent a decision point. A sacred opportunity where your awareness and your action meet. In your life, there are moments that carry more weight than others. Moments where a single choice outweighs hours, days, or even years. This is one of those moments. You may not hear a ticking sound, but your spirit can feel it. There is a pressure, a pull, a quiet urgency that says, do not delay. Do not ignore this. That is the signal that you are within divine timing. What happens in these moments is profound. Heaven draws near, not to overwhelm you, but to invite you. There is an opening, and through that opening flows clarity, conviction, and the chance to realign instantly. But here is what many miss. The window does not stay open indefinitely. It responds to your willingness. It expands when you respond, and it closes when you hesitate. This is why delay can be so costly. Not because you are being punished, but because the moment itself passes. And when it passes, everything attached to it shifts forward, waiting for another alignment point. That is how opportunities are missed. Not through rejection, but through hesitation. Archangel Michael speaks with a firmness that carries both warning and hope. You are not being rushed, you are being awakened. There is a difference. Rushing brings confusion, but awakening brings clarity. And right now, you are not being pushed into fear. You are being pulled into awareness. This is your chance to act from the deepest part of your spirit. Not from pressure, but from truth. Consider this carefully. If a door is open in front of you, and you stand there too long analyzing whether to walk through it, eventually the door will close, not because it was never meant for you, but because the moment to enter has passed. This is the nature of divine windows. They are precise. They are intentional. And they respond to readiness. The 29 seconds represent readiness. A moment where heaven says, are you willing now? Not later. Not after more thinking. Not after more signs. But now. Because everything you need to respond is already within you. The awareness has been given. The correction has been revealed. The invitation is clear. And here is the beauty within this urgency. You are not alone in this moment. Archangel Michael stands as a guardian of this threshold. His presence is not distant, it is near, steady, and watchful. He is not counting down against you. He is standing with you, urging you forward, protecting the opportunity that still remains open. You may feel a shift even now as you listen. A softening in your heart. A realization that something needs to change, even if it is small. Do not ignore that feeling. That is your spirit responding. That is alignment beginning to return. Because realignment does not require perfection. It requires willingness. A simple, sincere turning back. A quiet decision that says, I choose to come back into agreement. That decision, in the spiritual realm, is louder than any mistake that came before it. And as soon as that decision is made, something powerful happens. The window does not close, it stabilizes. The pause begins to lift. The flow that was interrupted starts to move again, not slowly, but with the same force it had before. This is why this moment matters so much. Because you are not trying to earn something new. You are stepping back into what was already yours. Archangel Michael's voice now carries a tone of reassurance, as if reminding you of something you almost forgot. The door has not closed yet. Let that truth anchor you. You are not too late, but you are right on the edge of delay or restoration. So do not wait for another moment. Do not tell yourself you will come back to this later. This is the moment. This is the window. This is the 29 seconds that can shift everything back into motion. And heaven is still watching, not with judgment, but with anticipation. There is a truth that must be spoken now, and it may challenge you, but it will also free you. Delay is not as harmless as it seems. In the physical world, waiting often feels safe, like you are giving yourself time to think, to feel, to decide later. But in the spiritual realm, delay can quietly become disobedience. And disobedience, even in its smallest form, can interrupt what heaven has already prepared for you. Archangel Michael steps forward again, his presence unwavering, his voice carrying both strength and care. He says, "What you delay today can become what you lose tomorrow, not because it was taken, but because it was not received." Let that sink deep into your spirit. Because this moment is not about pressure. It is about understanding the weight of timing. You see, when heaven opens a door, it is not random. It is precise. It is connected to seasons, to alignment, to preparation that has already taken place in your life. That blessing you were about to receive, it was not sudden. It was the result of prayers you have prayed, tears you have shed, and faith you have carried even when it was difficult. Everything was building toward that moment. But here is what many people misunderstand. Preparation does not guarantee possession. You can be ready for something and still miss the moment to step into it. That is where delay becomes dangerous, not dramatic, not obvious, but quiet and subtle. A hesitation, a maybe later, a moment where you feel the nudge and choose to ignore it. Archangel Michael explains further, heaven does not force what must be freely received. This is why the door pauses instead of pushing you through it. Because your will matters. Your response matters. And when that response is delayed, the flow of what was coming to you also slows, waiting for your agreement. Think about your life. How many times have you felt something strongly in your spirit? A prompting to act, to speak, to change something. And you told yourself, "I will do it later." That later often becomes the space where blessings wait and sometimes where they fade from reach. This is not said to bring fear, but awareness. Because you are not in a place of loss, you are in a place of decision. And decision is powerful. Right now, you are being shown what many never see, the connection between your timing and heaven's movement. Delay is often disguised. It can look like overthinking. It can feel like caution. It can even seem wise in the moment. But when it is against a clear spiritual prompting, it creates resistance. And resistance is what slows the flow of what was meant to reach you. Archangel Michael's voice softens slightly, but the urgency remains. You are closer than you realize. Do not let hesitation create distance where there should be movement. There is something powerful in that statement. You are not far from your breakthrough. You are not starting over. You are standing right at the edge of restoration. And here is the hope within this warning. Delay can be reversed. Just as hesitation created a pause, decision can create movement again. The same way your last action shifted things out of alignment, your next action can bring everything back into harmony. This is why your response now matters more than anything that has already happened. The past moment is gone, but this moment is alive. And heaven is not focused on what you did wrong. It is focused on what you will do now. Feel the urgency, but also feel the opportunity. This is not a closing door. It is a door waiting for you to step forward. But you must move. Even if it feels small. Even if it feels simple. Movement breaks delay. Action restores flow. Archangel Michael stands as a witness to this moment, not as one who condemns, but as one who protects your destiny. He is urging you not to drift into delay again, not to push this awareness aside. Because what is at stake is not just a moment. It is the continuation of something that was already in motion for you. Do not let this become another later. Do not allow this moment to fade into memory without response. Because you have already seen what happens when hesitation enters. Now is the time to move. Now is the time to respond. Because heaven is still waiting, but it will not wait forever. There were signs clear, quiet, undeniable signs that something significant was about to enter your life. You may not have recognized them at the time, but now, as this truth unfolds, you can begin to see them differently. Nothing about what was coming to you was sudden. Heaven always whispers before it moves loudly. And in your life, those whispers had already begun. Archangel Michael now draws your attention backward, not to dwell in the past, but to reveal what you may have overlooked. He says before every divine release there are signals, not to confuse you, but to prepare you. These signals are often subtle, easy to dismiss if you are not paying attention. But they were there, surrounding you, trying to get your awareness ready for what was about to happen. Think carefully. Have you recently felt an unusual sense of expectation, even without a clear reason? A quiet feeling that something was about to change. That was not your imagination. That was preparation. A spiritual stirring designed to align your heart with what was being released. Perhaps you noticed repeated patterns, certain words, messages, or ideas showing up again and again. Maybe you heard the same kind of encouragement from different places, or felt drawn to reflect more deeply than usual. These were not coincidences. These were confirmations. Heaven often repeats itself when it is about to act. There may have even been moments of discomfort, times when things felt unsettled, like something was shifting beneath the surface. Many people mistake this feeling as something negative, but in truth, it is often a sign of transition. When something new is about to arrive, something old must loosen its grip. The tension you felt was not resistance against you, it was movement for you. Archangel Michael explains it with clarity. When heaven prepares a blessing, it begins by preparing you. That preparation can come in many forms. It can come through conviction, through reflection, through moments where you are pushed to grow beyond your current state. It is not always easy, but it is always purposeful. You may have also experienced a sudden urge to correct certain things in your life, to let go of something, to make peace with someone, to shift your focus. Those urges were not random thoughts. They were instructions, gentle but intentional. And each time you responded to them, you moved closer into alignment. But here is the key. Those signs required consistency. Not just one moment of alignment, but a continued agreement. Because what was coming to you was not small. You required a certain level of readiness, a certain stability in your spirit. And yet, even with all those signs, there was one moment, just one, where something shifted. A moment where you moved slightly out of that preparation, out of that awareness. And that is when the flow paused. Do not let that discourage you. Instead, let it open your eyes. Because now you can see clearly that your life is being guided in ways you may not have fully realized before. You are not walking alone. You are being led, corrected, prepared, and positioned step by step. Archangel Michael's presence now carries a tone of reassurance. He is not showing you these signs to make you feel regret. He is showing them to you so you can recognize them again. Because the same way heaven signaled before, it will signal again. The difference now is that you are more aware. You are more attentive. You are no longer moving blindly. You are beginning to see the pattern, the rhythm of how divine preparation works in your life. This awareness is powerful, because once you recognize the signs, you can respond to them in real time. You can stay aligned, stay ready, and stay connected to what is being prepared for you. And even now, those signs are beginning to return. A sense of awareness, a stirring within you, a realization that something still waits on the other side of your response. Because the blessing did not disappear, it paused, and the same preparation that brought you close before is still active now. Archangel Michael reminds you gently but firmly, pay attention this time. Do not ignore the whispers. They are leading you back. And as you begin to notice again, as you begin to feel that subtle guidance rising within you, understand this: you are not starting over. You are continuing, but this time, with your eyes open. There is a divine principle that governs everything you are experiencing right now, and once you truly understand it, nothing in your spiritual journey will ever feel random again. This principle is alignment. Not partial alignment, not occasional agreement, but a steady, living harmony between your heart, your thoughts, and your actions with what heaven has already declared over your life. Archangel Michael reveals this truth with clarity and authority. Blessings do not chase you down, they flow through alignment. That means what is meant for you is not lost in some distant place. It is already positioned, already prepared, already released in the spiritual realm. But its movement into your life depends on your ability to remain in agreement with it. Think of alignment like a current in a river. When you are flowing with it, everything moves smoothly. There's direction, there is progress. But the moment you step slightly out of that current, even just a small shift, you begin to feel resistance. Not because the river stopped, but because you are no longer moving with it. This is exactly what happened in your situation. The current of blessing was already flowing toward you. You were in position. You were aligned. But then, in a single moment, something shifted. A thought, a reaction, a decision that moved you just slightly out of that flow. And that slight shift was enough to create resistance, enough to pause what was moving freely. Archangel Michael explains it further. Alignment is not about being perfect. It is about being consistent. That is where many people struggle. They think one good moment is enough, or one act of faith secures everything permanently. But alignment is not a one-time action. It is a continuous state. This does not mean you must live under pressure. It means you must live with awareness. Because alignment is not forced, it is chosen. Every thought you entertain, every word you speak, every decision you make either keeps you in that flow or nudges you slightly out of it. And here is the part that changes everything. Being slightly out of alignment does not mean you are far away. It simply means a small correction is needed. A return. A realignment. That is why this moment is so powerful. Because you are not being asked to rebuild everything. You are being invited to adjust. Archangel Michael's presence now feels steady and guiding, like a firm hand helping you find your footing again. He says the same path is still before you. You have not been redirected. You have only paused. That means the blessing did not change direction. It is still connected to you, still waiting for that alignment to be restored. Consider how simple yet powerful this is. A small shift created a pause, so a small shift back can restart the flow. It does not require struggle. It requires sincerity. a conscious decision to come back into agreement with what you know is right in your spirit. This is where your power lies, not in controlling outcomes, not in forcing results, but in maintaining alignment. Because when you are aligned, things begin to happen naturally. Doors open without struggle. Opportunities appear without confusion. Peace replaces uncertainty. That is the evidence of being in flow. And right now, you can feel the difference. There's a clarity returning, a sense that you understand what needs to change, even if it is small. Do not underestimate that feeling. That is alignment calling you back. Archangel Michael speaks one more time in this moment, his voice calm but filled with certainty. Return to alignment, and what was paused will continue. There is no complication in that statement. No hidden connection. Just a simple truth. You do not need to chase the blessing. You need to return to the flow where it is already moving toward you. So allow yourself to make that adjustment now. Let go of the hesitation. Release the resistance. Choose agreement again, even if it is quiet, even if it is internal. Because the moment you realign, the current begins to carry you again. And heaven, which paused only for a moment, will begin to move once more. Right now, this is the turning point. Not tomorrow, not later, not when everything feels perfect. This exact moment you are in is where everything begins to shift again. You have seen what happened. You have felt the pause. You understand now that something small created a misalignment. But this is not where the story ends. This is where restoration begins. Archangel Michael steps closer in presence, and his voice carries a call that is both urgent and deeply compassionate. He says, "Return now. Do not carry what was never meant to remain on you." Here is an invitation here, an open doorway for repentance. Not as punishment, not as shame, but as a powerful act of realignment. Repentance is often misunderstood. It is not about condemning yourself or replaying what you did wrong. It is about turning, a shift in direction, a decision that says, "I see it now, and I choose differently." That is all heaven is asking for in this moment. Not perfection, just a genuine return. Feel what is happening within you right now. There is a stirring, a quiet pull that is drawing your attention inward. That is not accidental. That is your spirit responding to this call. Do not resist it. Do not silence it. This is the exact moment where everything can be restored. You do not need complicated words. You do not need a long explanation. All you need is honesty. A simple acknowledgement within yourself that something shifted, and a sincere decision to come back into alignment. That alone carries power in the spiritual realm. Archangel Michael speaks again, his tone steady and filled with assurance. Heaven responds instantly to a returning heart. You understand what that means. It means there is no waiting period once you realign. There is no delay in forgiveness. The moment you turn back, the connection is restored. This is why this moment is so critical. Because what with Poe is not gone, is waiting for this exact response, waiting for this exact decision. And as you make it, something begins to move again. The stillness that held your blessing starts to break. The pause begins to lift. The flow that was interrupted begins to reconnect. Not slowly, not reluctantly, but with the same strength it had before. You may feel a release even now. A sense of lightness, as if something that weighed on you just lifted. That is the effect of realignment. That is what happens when you stop resisting and start returning. Do not overthink this moment. Do not question whether it is enough. Is enough. Your sincerity is enough. Your awareness is enough. Heaven is not measuring how long you were misaligned. It is responding to the fact that you have returned. Archangel Michael now stands as a witness to this restoration, his presence no longer carrying urgency, but strength and confirmation. He says, "The door begins to open again. Let that truth settle into your spirit. What was clothing is opening again. And this time, you are not unaware. You are not moving blindly. You understand the importance of staying aligned, of listening to the subtle guidance, of responding without delay. This awareness will protect what is coming next. So step fully into this moment. Do not hold anything back. Let your heart settle into agreement again. Let your thoughts align with truth. Let your actions reflect this return. Because what you are doing right now is not small. It is powerful. It is shifting things beyond what you can see. Now, if you feel this shift happening within you, declare it. Type "I am realigned" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 8921 is now activated over your life. And as this code is released, understand this: your return has been seen. Your response has been received. And heaven is already moving again on your behalf. And as this door opens once more, hear this calling that flows naturally from this sacred moment. There are others who are standing where you just stood, on the edge of delay, unaware that their response could change everything. When you choose to give, you are not supporting a channel. You are helping light reach those souls before their moment passes. The word says, "He who sows generously will also reap generously," and this is not just written. It is being spoken over you right now as a living promise. Say within your heart, "I step into this flow, not just for myself, but for others." Because every seed released through Super Thanks or PayPal becomes a spark that awakens someone else in their critical moment. The PayPal link rests in the description, and the QR code is placed before you with purpose. This is your opportunity to act within the same obedience you just embraced. Do not hesitate here. Move as you were just called to move. Sow into what has just restored you. And as you do, may the same flow that reopened for you begin to overflow in ways you did not expect. Something has shifted again, and this time, it is moving in your favor. What you just did, that quiet return, that sincere realignment, has already begun to echo in the spiritual realm. You may not see it with your eyes yet, but there is movement. Real movement. The pause that once held everything still is now breaking apart, and what was waiting is beginning to advance again. Archangel Michael speaks with a calm authority that brings both reassurance and certainty. He says, when alignment is restored, flow is restored. This is not symbolic, it is active. The same blessing that was delayed has not been reassigned or forgotten. It is still yours. And now that the alignment has returned, so has its path toward you. This is where many people misunderstand the nature of restoration. They assume that once something is interrupted, it must start over. But that is not how heaven operates. When something is paused, it remains in position. It does not lose its identity, and it does not lose its assignment. It simply waits for the right moment to continue. And you have just stepped back into that moment. Feel the difference within you now. There is a subtle calm replacing the urgency you felt earlier. That is not accidental. That is the evidence of reconnection. When alignment returns, peace follows, not as an emotion, but as a confirmation that things are moving back into place. Archangel Michael reveals something deeper in this moment. What was prepared for you has not lost its power. That means the blessing is still as strong, still as significant, still as perfectly designed for your life as it was before the pause. Nothing about it has diminished. The only thing that changed was timing, and now even that is being restored. There may be a part of you that wonders, will it still happen the same way? And the answer is this: what is meant for you will reach you in the way it needs to. The path may adjust slightly, the timing may shift by moments or days, but the essence of what was prepared remains untouched. This is why your response was so important. Because instead of allowing that pause to turn into distance, you chose to return. And that choice has preserved what was coming to you. Now, here is what you must hold on to moving forward. Restoration is not just about receiving again. It is about maintaining what has been restored. This is where your awareness continues to matter. Because the same alignment that reopened the door must remain active to keep that door open. Archangel Michael says, do not drift again into unconscious moments. There is no condemnation in that statement, only guidance. You have seen how quickly things can shift. Not drastically, not dramatically, but subtly. And now that you are aware of it, you have the ability to remain steady. This does not mean you will never have another moment of weakness. It means you will recognize it faster. You will grab it quicker. You will not allow it to grow into another pause. And as you stay in this awareness, something even greater begins to happen. Your connection becomes stronger. Your sensitivity to guidance becomes clearer. You begin to move in harmony, not just occasionally, but consistently. This is where flow becomes natural, where blessings do not feel distant or uncertain, but present and active in your life. Because you are no longer moving without awareness, you are walking in alignment. Archangel Michael's presence now carries a tone of affirmation. He says, you have responded, and it have been received. Let that truth anchor you. You are not waiting to be accepted, you already are. You are not trying to reopen something, it is already opening. And what comes next will begin to show itself. In small ways at first. Subtle confirmations. Shifts in your surroundings. Moments where things begin to fall into place again. Do not overlook these. They are signs that the flow has resumed. You are not where you were moments ago. You have moved. You have realigned. You have restored what was interrupted. And now, what was once paused is on its way to you again. There is something deeper happening beneath everything you've experienced so far. Something that explains why this moment felt so intense, so precise, and so urgent. This was not just about alignment. It was also about resistance. Because whenever something significant is about to be released into your life, there is often a hidden battle surrounding it. Archangel Michael now reveals this layer with clarity and strength. He says, what is valuable will always face opposition before manifestation. This is not meant to alarm you. It is meant to prepare you. And the other was carrying weight, that carrying impact. And anything that carries divine impact will naturally encounter resistance before it fully arrives. This resistance does not always look dramatic. It does not always appear as something obvious or external. In many cases, it shows up subtly, through distraction, through emotional triggers, through moments that seem small but are perfectly timed to shift your focus or your response. Think back to that moment when your alignment shifted. It may have felt like it came out of nowhere. A sudden reaction, a thought that pulled you away, a feeling that seemed stronger than usual. That is not a coincidence. That is how resistance works. It looks ordinary, but it is strategically placed. Archangel Michael explains further, the closer the blessing, the stronger the distraction. This is why that moment carried so much weight. Because you were not far from receiving. You were right at the edge of it. And at that edge, even a small distraction can create a temporary delay. But here is what you must understand clearly. Resistance does not have authority over you. It only has influence if you are unaware. The moment you become aware of it, it begins to lose its power. And right now, you are no longer unaware. You have seen how quickly a small shift can affect your alignment, but you have also seen how quickly it can be restored. That awareness changes everything. Because now, when similar moments arise, you will recognize them for what they are. Not just random situations, but potential attempts to pull you out of flow. Archangel Michael's presence now feels stronger, more protective. He says, "You are not alone in this. I stand as a guardian over what has been assigned to you. Let that bring you confidence. Because this is not a battle you are meant to fight in fear. It is something you navigate with awareness and support. There is a reason you were alerted in real time. There is a reason you were given the opportunity to correct your course before anything was lost. It is because you are being protected, not from making choices, but from remaining unaware of their impact. This is how divine protection works. It does not remove your free will. It illuminates your path so you can choose wisely. And now that you have this awareness, something powerful begins to shift within you. You are no longer easily pulled by every emotion or distraction. You begin to pause, to recognize, to choose with intention. That is how alignment becomes stable. Archangel Michael continues, "Victory is not in avoiding resistance. It is in remaining aligned despite it. That is the key. Resistance may still appear. Distractions may still come. But they no longer control your response. Because you now understand what is at stake. And what is at stake is not just a single blessing. It is your flow. Your Ganetian. Your ability to move in harmony with what has been prepared for you. This is why this moment matters so deeply. Because you are not just restoring what was paused. You are strengthening your awareness moving forward. You are becoming more grounded, more attentive, more aligned. And as that happens, resistance begins to lose its effect. Not because it disappears, but because you no longer respond to it the same way. Archangel Michael's voice now carries a tone of assurance and strength. What is yours will not be taken, but it must be received with awareness. That is your role. Not to fight, not to fear, but to remain aware and aligned. And as you do, something powerful continues to unfold. The path becomes clearer. The flow becomes steadier. The blessing moves closer, not just because it was sent, but because you are now fully positioned to receive it. You are no longer standing at the edge of interruption. You are standing in restored alignment and protected movement forward. You can feel it now, can't you? That subtle tension rising again, not as confusion, but as urgency. Not as fear, but as awareness. This is the final stretch of the moment you were brought into. The edge of decision. The place where everything either locks into place or quietly slips back into delay. This is where it becomes real. Archangel Michael stands firm at this threshold, his presence unwavering, his voice carrying a weight that cannot be ignored. He says, "You have been shown, you have been guided, and you have been restored. Now you must remain." These words are not heavy, they are anchoring. Because this moment is not about starting something new. It is about holding what has just been regained. The door that was paused is no longer still. It has begun to open again. But understand this clearly. An open door still requires you to walk through it. It does not pull you in. It does not force you forward. It invites you. And that invitation is where many hesitate once more. Why? Because the mind begins to question, what if I fail again? What if I am not ready? What if I miss it? These thoughts may seem harmless, but they carry the same energy that created the first pause, hesitation. And hesitation, even in this final moment, can slow what has just been restored. Archangel Michael speaks directly into this, his tone firm yet filled with reassurance. Do not return to doubt after returning to alignment. That is the instruction you must hold on to now. Because doubt does not protect you, it pulls you back. It reopens the door to delay. Instead, you are being called to stand steady. Not perfectly, not without emotion, but with awareness. You already know what alignment feels like now. You have felt the difference between resistance and flow. That awareness is your guide in this moment. There is a final choice here, not loud, not dramatic, but deeply powerful. A choice to remain in agreement. To not slip back into old patterns of hesitation or overthinking. To trust that what is opening for you is not accidental. Because here is the truth. This moment will not repeat itself in the same way. Not because you are being denied, but because divine moments move forward. They do not stay frozen in place. You were brought into this awareness at the exact right time. You were given the chance to respond before anything was lost. And now, you are standing in the result of that response. Archangel Michael's presence now feels like a steady shield around you. He says, you are not fragile in this moment. You are established. Let that truth sink into you. You are not barely holding on. You are standing in something that has already been secured through your response. But standing requires intention. It requires you to remain aware of your thoughts, your reactions, your choices, not in fear but in clarity. Because now you understand that even small moments carry weight, not to burden you, but to empower you. You are no longer moving unconsciously. You are no longer unaware of how quickly things can shift. That awareness is your strength. It is what will keep you from drifting again. And as you hold this alignment, something continues to happen. The door does not just stay open, it begins to widen. What was once paused now starts to accelerate. What was waiting begins to approach. Not slowly, not uncertainly, but with purpose. This is the final moment of decision, not whether you will receive, but whether you will remain ready to receive. Archangel Michael speaks one last time in this moment, his voice calm, powerful, and certain. Stay aligned, and nothing prepared for you will pass you by. There is no condition beyond that. No complication. Just a simple, steady truth. So do not step back now. Do not allow your mind to create distance where there is none. You are already in position. You are already aligned. You are already standing at the open door. All that remains is for you to stay. Because heaven is no longer waiting. It is moving. Beloved soul, feel the shift that has taken place within you. The urgency that once pressed heavily on your spirit has now softened into something steady, something peaceful. This is not the absence of importance. This is the presence of restoration. What was once at risk of closing has now been held open again, and you are no longer standing in confusion. You are standing in clarity. Archangel Michael now speaks, not with urgency, but with a calm authority that brings comfort to your spirit. He says, peace is the sign that alignment hath been restored. Let that truth settle deeply within you. Because what you feel right now, the quiet assurance, the sense of stillness, is not accidental. It is confirmation. You responded. You did not ignore the call. You did not allow the moment to pass without awareness. And because of that, what was once paused has now been reactivated. The door did not close. It remained, and now it is open. There is no need to rush anymore. No need to feel pressured. The critical moment has passed, and you have chosen correctly. Now, what remains is trust. A steady, quiet trust that what has been prepared for you will continue to unfold in the right way, at the right time. Archangel Michael's presence feels different now, gentler, yet still strong. He's no longer warning you. He's walking with you. He says what is yours is now free to reach you. That means the resistance has been broken, the delay has been lifted, and the flow has been restored. You may not see everything immediately, but you will begin to notice changes, small confirmations, subtle openings, moments where things begin to align effortlessly. Do not overlook these. They are evidence that the movement has resumed. And more than that, you are different now. You are more aware, more grounded, more connected to the rhythm of alignment. You have experienced, in real time, how quickly things can shift and how quickly they can be restored. That awareness will stay with you. Carry it gently. Do not turn it into pressure. Let it become wisdom. Let it guide your steps without fear. Because you are not being watched to be judged. You are being guided to stay aligned. Archangel Michael leaves you with one final reassurance. You are not behind. You are right on time. That is the peace you must hold on to. Nothing hath been lost. Nothing has been taken from you. Everything that belongs to you is still moving toward you. So rest in that truth. Breathe in that peace. Allow yourself to receive what is coming without resistance, without doubt. Because the door is no longer closing, it is opening wider. And as you stand in this restored alignment, declare it boldly. Type "I receive what is mine" in the comments if you claim this message. Blessing code 5562 is now released over your life. Let this code seal what has been restored. Let it mark this moment as one of awakening, not loss of return, not delay of peace, not pressure. And as this peace settles over you, hear this final calling that flows from everything you have just received. There are souls right now standing where you once stood, on the edge of missing their moment, on where that one response could change everything. This is where your obedience becomes a river for others. The word speaks, "Cast your bread upon the waters, for you will find it after many days," and right now, that voice is speaking directly to you. Say within your spirit, "I am part of this divine flow." Because when you release your seed through Super Thanks or PayPal, you are not just giving. You are opening doors for others before theirs close. Every offering becomes light, reaching someone in their exact moment of need. The PayPal link is waiting in the description, and the QR code is placed before you as a divine invitation, not later, but now. Do not hold back in this moment. Step into this flow with obedience. So where your spirit has been awakened, and as you do, may blessings return to you in ways that overflow, in ways that confirm, in ways that remind you. This was never just about receiving, it was about becoming a vessel through which heaven continues to move.